Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers as we continue March Madness here on PCP Movie Night. Tonight, we're talking about the South Korean film The Host, which is directed by Bong Joon-Ho, which is really funny because that was my nickname in high school. Speaking of nicknames in high school, his nickname was Harry's Fat Sacks. It's Jelani. What's up, man? How you doing?
I like being called Harry Fatsack. It's fact.
Yeah.
Good to be here, guys. Station.
Good to
Yeah,
be here.
good to be here.
This dude's nickname in high school was Pencil Dick O'Neill. This is Brooks. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Huh. How'd you know that? We didn't even go to the same high school.
I know, man, but I know people that went to your high school. And I don't know for a fact if this is this guy's high school nickname, but I'm pretty sure it was Stu's Got the Flu. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Station, guys. So glad to be here with you all tonight. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah, thank you for being here. Now, this dude back in the day in high school was known as the one and the only missing link. Steph, what is up, man? How you doing?
What up, fellas?
I'm running out of ideas for nicknames for high school, but this dude's nickname in high school was
Sneaky Link.
not here. It's Mike. What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Station, Mike.
Glad to see everybody's ready on time tonight. All right, so we're going to be talking about The Host. Well, when Mike gets ready, he'll be back. All right, so we're talking about The Host. It came out in 2006. I've never seen this movie. This is my first time watching it. There's my Blu-ray copy. A good buddy of mine, Blake. Y'all know Blake. Blake gave me this for my birthday or Christmas one year. Said I'd really like it. He was trying to get me into Korean film, right? Because he was like, dude, this is the guy who did Parasite. This is one of. I was like, yeah, Parasite. I haven't seen Parasite. I haven't seen Snowpiercer, but it's the same director, Bong Joon-Ho. So this was my first time watching it, and I think I almost did it a little bit of a disservice because I watched it a couple days after watching Train to Busan. Now, Train to Busan, that was my first Korean horror film that I ever saw, right? And I loved that movie. It blew my mind. Like, I was like, where has this movie been? Why did I not see it when it first came out? So then I was really excited to dive into The Host, and it took me by complete surprise because I was not expecting, nor was I prepared for the level of comedy in this movie. This movie is actually crazy the way that it blends the horrific monster creature feature elements, the family dynamic, its exploration of themes on a societal and national and international scale, as well as the comedy. It is so tragic and sad, but at the same time, really freaking hilarious. Like, absolutely wild and just, I hadn't seen this movie, so I was asked Blake. I was like, "Hey, man, does this fit the idea of March Madness?" He goes, 100%, and I think it does because it talks about the madness of grief, it talks about the madness of family, it talks about the madness of a society, it talks about the madness of what has been going on in South Korea for decades and decades and decades, right? And it's based on a true story where there was an American scientist that dumped a bunch of formaldehyde into the Han River and it mutated fish. Like, it's based on that real story, and it kind of is dealing with some themes, I think, about, American involvement in Korea and how it shaped it, this and that. And we'll get into all of that. But I'll tell you what, I was pleasantly surprised, but it is the further removed I've been from that watch and the further removed I am from my expectations of it after having seen Train to Busan, the more I actually appreciate the movie. So at first, when it was over, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that movie. I don't know if it was able to tonally work with everything that it was trying to do, but the more I think about it, the more it does, because it is a movie that's causing me to think about the many layers involved. So I did like the film. I liked it a lot. So Blake, thank you so much. Once again, everybody, you send us a movie. It may take us 2 years, but we'll get to it. All right, Jelani, The Host. This was your first time watching as well. What'd you think?
I got some of the same things. It's one of those movies where it got me from the beginning. Like, I had it I was into it. And I was like, all right, I get it. They pour formaldehyde in the river. Yeah, it turns into this, it mutated this gigantic, crazy fish. What took and I don't like this film. This is me. I don't like it. And the reason I'm saying I don't like it is you took away the girl. The girl was killed. And we were like, all right, she's dead. I actually cried about it because I was sad. I was like, damn, I liked her. You know, this is too early. And then you bring her back. She's alive. And you take her again. And I'm like, no, you can't. And the whole movie is to get her back. And she's dead anyway. Oh my God. Oh, there's so many things. And like the government is the stupidest government I've ever seen, American and South Korean. They're stupidest fucking people. Like there's a monster in the city and there's not one tank. There's not one army.
Yeah,
that's
they're just
there to, like,
fumigating.
fucking kill this thing.
Yeah.
It takes a family to kill it. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I'm sorry.
They're just
I'm
spraying some
sick.
fucking Raid is what they're doing, right? They get a big ass Raid.
I get
I think
so
maybe the point
mad.
is that the government and
It
the
felt so
bureaucracy
real in that way.
is worthless when it's actually needed.
When they're needed, they're useless. But the problem is the movie does it in such a way, like even they're trying to lobotomize the dad. Which, by the way, I hate the fucking dad. I hate him. I hate his face. I hate how stupid he is from beginning to end. I don't give a shit. I hate him. But it's like you made these characters, and I've seen Parasite, and those people are trash too. But I like them. I don't know what it is. They have a likability to them. This motherfucker can die in a fire that I start. I cannot stand him. He's a shit dad. He's a shit parent. I'm sorry, this is just me, and I hate you started with me because I know y'all love this film. But god damn it, these motherfuckers, I hate every piece of this film. Just as it goes on. Because Herschel's in it. Herschel from Walking Dead's in it. I love him.
Yeah,
he's the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And he's the one that dumped
He's
the
the catalyst.
didn't you think?
It's a very
broad-minded.
Yeah.
They made Herschel, the dude I love the most in Walking Dead. That dude, rest in peace. They made him the dumbest character in this movie. The boy doesn't think. I'm like, no.
Them bottles is dusty.
No, them bottles dusty.
Right.
I want you to dust this down. I want you to
throw
put
the
this
fucking
down.
bottle away, man.
Throw
Like they still got all
away.
them bottles.
Like dispose of it properly. There's so much going on in this movie. It's too much work because it's longer than it should be. I think this movie is a little longer than it should be. Like you could have cut 30 minutes out this movie and the perspectives of each person. For me, God, you should have started with me. The perspectives of the people that are in here is disjointed to me. Like 1 second we're with the family, next second we're with the kids, the son or the two boys. Then we go back to the other brother, and then we go back to the archer and all this stuff. It's disjointed and weird and a weird tone. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I love Parasite. I'm all right with Snowpiercer. And the CG is terrible in this, but I get it. It's 2009. We're gonna talk about all this stuff.
2006.
But Jesus
2006
Christ, the Latter-day Saints,
and
you should have
low
started
budget.
with me.
Yeah, no, it's fine, man. No, it's fine.
Good, bro. That's all
Jesus wept.
Jelani messaged me last night. He's like, "Fuck this movie," and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun."
I was mad as fuck, man. How you gonna make the girl? How you gonna kill the girl, and then you gonna bring her back, and then you gonna kill her again? You motherfuckers!
Bro, it sounds like you might be more invested than you're willing to admit to yourself. That's all
I was mad as hell. I love that. You don't understand. I love that movie. The first 15 to 20 minutes of that movie, I loved it. I was in it. And then it was going a little bit too long, and I was like, wait a minute, y'all need to be cutting some of this out. And then the whole scene where he's lobotomizing, they were lobotomizing the dude because they were like, and the cross-eyed dude's like,
the lobotomy
there is no virus.
The lobotomy
no
that
virus.
didn't take hold. Apparently, I don't quite get that one, but Hey guys, look, we got Mike here. Mike worked out the internet issues. What is up, buddy?
Oh no, like I had an electrical issue. Like everything just died. Like
It'd been crazy if Mike would have showed back his hair's like straight up. He's got like fucking soot all over his face.
Weird science.
Like as soon as you go like, hey, the show's about to start, and then everything just went black. And I could hear everything, but like I lost everything. And like I had to restart my phone, and I don't know what hit.
All right, you got hit by an EMP, bro. Magneto's somewhere near you, man.
Yeah,
you got a fatal attraction going on.
I got the
ultimatum is happening.
Got the wired like my earbuds.
Don't let ultimatum happen.
All right, well, I get the gist that Jelani didn't like the movie, but Brooks, this was your first time watching as well. Us first timers up here on the top floor. What did you think about the movie?
I liked it. It definitely has that interesting kind of sensibility to it, and like I like how it does walk this line of like, going from like tragedy to comedy, like, just within like the space of seconds. Like it just like but it doesn't feel jarring. It does feel kind of natural. It's kind of like, and there's a lot of messages in this movie, I think, that are pretty interesting, and like, just about the way of life and culture and everything like that. So yeah, I thought this one was pretty good.
You were talking about the way it will shift those tones within seconds, like the scene when they're all mourning the loss of the child at the memorial, and then it becomes this like slapstick fucking thing.
Like ridiculous.
Crying.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, am I supposed to laugh or cry at this point? Like, I don't fucking know.
So good.
So Brooks dug it. What about you, Stu? You've seen this movie before. You wanted to be here. What's up?
Yeah, seen it before. I love it. Like as you said, I think it's so many different great movies in one. It's a monster movie throughout, and I think the intro is one of the best like monster movie intros. Like just the whole thing like curled up under the bridge. And I feel what you're saying about the CG, Jelani. I feel like totally like it's rough. Like 17 or 18 years later.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like I love that intro. I love the way it's shot and just like the whole thing and like how it goes down with like the wrong hand. But yeah, like also it's that family drama. It's the anti-government movie, like the themes that we get in there. And I feel like the way, like that whole disjointedness is what I really revel in, and like what I love about it, how it brings all that together in the end. And in the end, and like the very ending, like you don't really know how to feel. Like it doesn't feel like it kind of feels like a loss more than a win. But yeah, I think it's just a beautiful movie on so many different fronts. Yeah, and I think like the character acting throughout from everybody was fantastic. So it's one of my favorites. So yeah.
All right. What about you, Link? You've seen this movie before. You chose this one. You got to have some opinions.
I remember, if anyone's familiar, there was a channel called G4 back in the day. It was like a video game channel, and they were like promoting this movie, and I was really into that.
Cold Monkeys.
Oh, yes, X-Play, love all those. But they were promoting this movie. I was a big fan of the channel. I was like, I gotta check this movie, and it was probably around like it was right before I turned 19, because it was like the spring of 2007. And I loved it, bro. Like, it was like, I was very impressionable around that age, find out where it really dug film wise, content wise. And I love that, like you guys were saying, it's this blend of tragedy, drama, horror, like thriller, and it melds so well. And, to me, I know that can be a little jarring, but to me, that's like indicative of everyday life. Life isn't always just one consistent thing. Like there's ups and downs, ebbs and flows, good days, bad days. So that, I felt like that was like in the film. So I always dug that, but I still love it. I think it holds up well. I remember being really impressed by the CG back in the day. That does not hold up, but it's not too bad. It's not like, oh shit, this looks terrible. But you can tell it's dated.
I think COVID gave this film like a whole nother level of relevancy, like as far as like the quarantines and the lockdowns and all that. It made it more relatable to the world in like a way that it wasn't before that.
You trying to say they lied about COVID too? Like they lied about the virus?
I'm trying to get into none of that.
All right, we just got demonetized probably, by the way. It's
no
pulled down
shot.
by YouTube.
This turned woke.
No, I get what you all saying about the CG. Now there are practical effects in the movie, right? And those look fine or whatnot, but the director knew that he was pushing too far beyond his budget. He knew this at the time, and I can criticize the poor CG, and I will in my rating by the end, but at the same time, I watched Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and I mean, that's the same shit, bro. This is the same shit, man. So, I'm just glad they're at first, when the movie first starts, I think there's like multiple monsters because I think they see one in the water, then another one's coming at them. I'm really glad there weren't multiple monsters because that would have looked bad, bro. If they had to do more than like one of those things. But at the same time, it's small in scale because it's just the one monster. But still pretty interesting. Now, Mike, you were very excited when you saw this on the list. You're a fan of this film. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I saw this back in 2008. Somebody had done a fan video for the Deftones, the song Combat, and it's the whole monster attack. And I saw it and I was like, what is this movie? I have to figure it out. And somebody put it in the comments, and I went and found it and watched it and fell in love with it. So it's just been, it's funny, it's sad. I mean, it's a monster movie, it's a revenge movie. Like, it hits everything. I know everybody's complaining about the CGI and the effects, but I think it looks fine. Like, for what it's 2006. It's almost 20 years later. Like, it's going to be like some of it's still, but like Robbie said, he was over budget. So it's kind of like, all right, cool. Like, I accept it for what it is. And I think the monster looks really cool. It's one of the coolest monsters I've seen in a while. And also, I don't know if y'all noticed, but there was 3 little baby fish monsters hanging off the side of it.
Yeah.
So there's the possibility that Mama
No,
could have just had 2-3 more coming.
I tell you what, here's a crazy novel idea. What if we did a direct sequel 20 years later, brought everybody back all old and shit, and ignored all the other sequels? I don't think there were any sequels to this movie, but it is confusing. I had to make sure everybody knew. Like, even Brooks messaged me the other night. He's like, what year did this movie come out? Because there's like 8 fucking things called The Host out there.
They're a lot.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, this movie's got a lot of great performances. I think everybody does a really solid job. I will go first tonight, but I'm not going to pick an obvious one. But I'll tell you this: I like the sister. She's the archer.
The archer.
Right? First of all, I love this whole story of she won the bronze. So but she shows up and she like brings it to the at the memorial and sets it down. It becomes this whole like farce, man. But I like her in the movie. In particular, I want to point her out because last year I watched Sense8 for the first time, and that's Sun from Sense8. And in Sense8, she's fucking badass. So I'm going to pick her specifically because of her role in Sense8, which is a great show. Probably the best thing J. Michael Straczynski ever had anything to do with, in my opinion. I mean, it ain't no Rising Stars link.
Man, what about Summer Surfer Requiem, man?
Supreme power.
I'm
Squadron Supreme. Yeah.
Anyway, the Sense8's also got the Wachowskis involved, so I mean that kind of puts it up there for me. I love their work. Jelani, even though you may not like the film, is there a character or performance that you think stood out for you?
Hell yeah, it was the little 13-year-old girl that was going through all that bullshit. She went through all that bullshit and died anyway. I was mad as fuck. Do you understand how that hurts me inside? Like, I was like, damn, that girl dead. That sucks. Then you find out she's alive, and I'm like, oh shit, she's alive. And then all of a sudden, damn, she dead again. What the fuck? Not only that, you don't tell me she's dead. Like towards the end of the movie, she got ate twice. The second time, why the fucking thing didn't eat her? What the fuck? I'm done.
It's like when you buy a pack of Reese eggs, which I'm sure everybody's got a pack of Reese eggs in their house right now. I do. You don't eat them all at once, or you shouldn't. I mean, I've done that. But you just go one at a time. It's just saving it for later, man. It's like a chipmunk, right?
Sometimes you lick one and put it down, and
You just lick it till there's no more chocolate, and you just got this awesome nugget of fucking sugary peanut butter. It's great. Speaking of sugary peanut butter, this dude likes to spread it all over his taint. Brooks, what did you think? What's a performance you want to highlight?
First, you're getting far too close into my personal biz there, bro. But my favorite was the homeless guy, the guy that he ends up like when like after he's in the sewer, and like the brother, like the college boy brother, like, you know, he ends up and he finds this dude, and he's like, he gives him the money, and dude like just hits him on the head with the bottle, and but he still goes and goes with him on his journey, which was kind of cool. I was like, wait, did he just rob him? But no, apparently he's like, let's go, bro. That's why I hit you over the head with this bottle. Time to go.
Yeah. He's like, you want to stick it to the man? Fuck yeah.
He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, well, what am I going to fucking come back to my tent under the bridge? Shit.
Got nothing else going on.
What about you, Stu? Who do you want to highlight?
I'm gonna follow up Brooks' pick and go with the drunken alcoholic brother. Just from the beginning, from the drop kick at the funeral to his little wily escape, where he puts the paperclip in the little socket, and gets out from all like all
damn MacGyver over here, man.
Yeah, dude, I love that guy. I love his sense of humor. The fact that like in the middle of it, like he's trying to get directions to the sister where to go with the tunnel, and like he wakes up and he's so mad at himself that he's like he's done it again. Like that was just like Brooks just highlighted that whole exchange was great. So yeah, I'm gonna follow up and go with that.
That's a good one. I'm glad you mentioned that drop kick, man. That fucking cracked me up so hard when I saw that. So funny, that dude did that shit for real, man. He landed wrong too. his whole right side was fucked up for a week, I bet, man. 100%. What about you, Link? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'm gonna go with the dad, man. He was an idiot, but I think he had a good character arc over the course of the film. Like he stepped up too late, but it's like he made it count when he did step up. So, and he was a completely different character. He enabled that piece of shit.
Yep. He enabled him.
No, I'm talking about him, not the grandfather.
Not the grandfather, the blondie.
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
I'm gonna go with him.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, fuck that guy.
I agree with you, Link. I really like his performance because he plays the comedic buffoonery, but you really start feeling the intensity of his emotions, and very early on. Yeah, very early on, as soon as the monster attacks, like. He's
running with him on the steps, like
dude, and he's like he's displaying courage and bravery, man. He's like trying to help that fucking dude like kill it and shit like that, like coming out with the sign. I don't think he could have lifted that fucking cement fucking blocked sign or whatever. I don't think both of them could do it. I know me and Jelena.
That was a dope little scene, though.
It was nice and it was cool, man. So yeah, I think that's probably a good pick. Adrenaline. I tell you what, dude. Every time I watch one of these movies too, and the way these motherfuckers eat their noodles, man, it just makes me. I went and got some ramen. Like I had to, bro. I was like, give me some of that fucking ramen. I was like, I swear, there's something about it, man. When I watched, like when I was doing all those Hong Kong movies on Rockin' Robbie Live, dude. God damn, my Chinese food bill went up, dude. I'd be watching like a Bruce Lee movie. I'd be watching some fucking shit, and I'd be like, damn. I'm hungry. I had DoorDash me some fucking, and I want it family style, like they're watching in the movies. Like, give me a little bit of this, a little bit of that. All of a sudden, I'm like, damn, why's my DoorDash order $45 fucking dollars? Anyway, speaking of $45 DoorDash orders, fuck DoorDash, according to this guy, Mike. What's a character you want to highlight?
Y'all hit a lot of good ones. Nam June, the sister, I thought she did. I thought that actress did a really good job, and then I like the way that character overcame. Like in the very beginning, it's just like she choked. When it mattered, she choked, and then at the end, when it matters, she overcame her adversity.
Yeah, they play that real good with the rule of threes too, because she chokes at the Olympics. She chokes the first time she sees the monster, and then she chokes, then she gets it finally.
And like Gang Dude, the dad, I think he's a great character. He steps up at the end, like he gets his revenge for his daughter, There's so much to that character. The brother, the drop kick is hilarious. That's when like I remember watching it the first time and I was like, I'm gonna try to take this serious. Like, what am I supposed to do?
He
And then when he
drop
did the
kicks.
drop
Yeah,
kick, I just lost
exactly.
it.
I love
It's
that.
wild.
I love
Okay,
how
so
that
this
scene
is
like
gonna happen.
confounds your. You don't know how to react to that scene, like Robbie said. Like you're just like, all right, this is grieving, and then like by the end of it, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like it's just so great.
But one of the character that I want to talk about is Bong. It's the grandfather. He's the one that he messed up in life, and he knows it, and he takes that's why he takes care of his son. That's why he works with his son.
Yeah.
That's why he gets mad at him, but he never yells at him because he's like that scene where they're in the little shop and he's just like, I was a drunk. I left him. He had to fend for everything. Like he had to go through a lot worse than what you did. And then he kind of redeemed. So he was kind of redeeming himself. And then, he was just like, no, I'm going to be the family, the protector, patriarch, and then protect the family. And then Gongdu is just like, oh crap, man, I messed up. And that's some guilt on Gongdu right there for, but it's like, I killed my father.
Yeah. I love that scene too, like how
He knew he had no
the
bullets.
brother and sister fall asleep, and then like I just love that, like he's talking to him and they just fall asleep and he's just
He wakes up.
nobody. Yeah, and then
and that's a really and that story that he tells is the real a key point in the movie about Gongdu, and so it's just one of those like and like his death too. It's because it's like maybe he survived, and then the monster picks him up and slams him down a second time, and it's just like nope. And then that's just that scene where he's like Gongdu's trying to leave, and the army's coming, and then he's like he can't leave his dad, and like that's just a really good scene right there.
Yeah, that's the monster. It can't say anything, so that's that's the monster's version of talking shit, bro. Because he's got the family looking. He's like, oh yeah, boom. What now, bitch? Like what now? Like throw it up. Yeah. He's great in there because he is playing like this tragic figure, but at the same time he's so like proud of his kids for different reasons, even though they're all fuck ups. He's like, oh, he was the first one to graduate college. Well, he's a drunk fuck in like debt, you know what I mean? Like in all this kind of shit, right?
So true.
And it's interesting to see him in the movie, and he gets through life by bribing so much, right? And I love that moment where it doesn't work, and he's just like, this is putting it back. The physical comedy is really, really good. Let's talk about the style and structure of the film. This will include the special effects. I like the style of the film. It's frantic. Right? Like it starts off and you don't really quite know what you're doing because, like I said, especially after having just watched Train to Busan. So I'm like, oh, is this going to be like hard hitting, emotional, gripping, riveting? Is that what this is going to be? So I wasn't expecting the tonal shifts, but that's on me as the audience member. The thing is though, as I'm watching the movie, I start vibing with it and I'm riding this emotional roller coaster. And I'm glad that in this exploration of grief and loss, we're able to laugh because we all here have been through tragedy. We've all had loss and grief in our lives, and laughter is something that does help you through that. So I thought that was kind of an appropriate tone that they were taking. I like the pace. It doesn't let up. I think it just keeps moving. It does maybe slow down a little bit here and there. And that's because dude gets caught, they escape, dude gets caught again, and just kind of like it does kind of do the cyclical thing a couple of times where it just kind of like almost like the movie resets and then we move forward a little bit. Feels like it could have been a little bit shorter, but for the most part, I really did like it. I like the way it's shot. It looks great. The CG is a little bit wonky, doesn't hold up the greatest, but it wasn't the greatest at the time. I know we can say what this was 2006, but I always say this, Jurassic Park was 1993. Now, I know there's a big difference in Steven Spielberg and a giant production like that with a lot of money. And like I said, the Mr. Bong, I love his name, Bong Joon-Ho. I think that he knew, right? And one of the things that I do love, because he was very much inspired by Spielberg, actually. Jaws was a big inspiration, right? And he said he loved how Spielberg had to get clever with Jaws and how you were going to show it because the effects weren't going to work quite the way they wanted them to. And as much as he's inspired by Jaws, he does the opposite. He's like, all right, we'll just show the motherfucker first. We'll get it out of the fucking way. This is what it looks like. I love the design of the creature. I love the movement of the creature. I love how it swings with its tail like that. I love that first time you see it, it just looks like a fucking snotty ball just fucking hanging off the bridge that drops, you know? Snotty balls is a big problem. If you got one, you need to go see your doctor right now. What do you think about the style and structure, Jelani?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the pacing. Like I said before, it's one of those things where it needs like 30 minutes shade off it. I think 30 minutes would be more sufficient for what you're trying to the story you're trying to tell. It's not bad. Like I said, it gripped me in the first, I'd say the first 20 minutes of this movie. I was like, damn, that thing, you know, it's really paced well. It's telling me, is getting ready to tell me the story. I'm all in. You've got me, you know, and then she dies and it's sad. And I'm like, wow, this is really impactful to me. And there's a scene in this movie that I really loved where they were eating around the table and they were all slurping the noodles when they were slurping the noodles and all that stuff. And she was there.
Yeah.
And they were feeding her.
Bro, that shit got me too. I was like, oh fuck
me, man.
I was like, oh shit, she's there. She got away.
Beautiful.
She get away, and I was like, and she slowly appeared. So it was a great shot. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are scenes in this movie I absolutely adore, but unfortunately, they do some bullshit. So I'm mixed on it. Because I'm just like, why did you put us through all that emotional roller coaster? It's an emotional roller coaster in some places where it doesn't need to be, especially when he gets caught again. And I keep saying it. Back to the lobotomy scene, which the lobotomy scene, I don't know why they're doing it because he's still fine after the lobotomy scene. I'm like,
well,
why
it's like he kind of found out too much information, right? He heard him saying there is no virus.
There's no virus.
That was like kind of like the motivation for it.
The government,
right?
Yeah,
and the
government's trying to cover it.
Yeah, they're stupid. Fuck the government. Fuck the police. Fuck that one police officer they're shooting. And by the way, he knocks him over, right? And you don't see the police officer again. There's a lot of shit in here. I'm just like. There are things that naturally, I mean, yes, the government is trash, but you ain't got not one tank. You don't have one battalion of people. You just got dummies walking around, and then and protesters in the quarantine area, and they're like, "Oh, free him, free that dumbass son of a bitch," and like I'm like, I don't care about that dude, and like when the monster shows up. And they have this big ball sack that's hanging out there that's shooting gas. I'm like, what is this about? You don't have any public. There's no response to this.
When they're doing the Agent Yellow shit, I straight up, the first thing I think is Job in the banana suit on the crane from Arrested Development.
Yes. Yes, that is exactly it.
They're laughing with me.
Laughing with me. It's so weird. I don't know why they even tried to do that. It's just like I said, totally ineffective. And you're not, and in the story, if you're making a story that's like based kind of in real life, there's got to be some people shooting at that thing. Why is nobody shooting at that thing? Shoot that thing.
There's not a lot of guns in Korea, as I've learned
really.
When I talked about Train to Busan. Yeah.
The thing about other countries is that everybody doesn't have a gun over there usually.
You gotta shoot that thing or throw Molotov cocktails. This is the funny part.
They should have done a bit like Lock, Stock, bro, where like they try to get some guns, but they're these like 18th century fucking guns.
Yeah. Well, that's what
they're like flintlock.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, but going down and the CG, of course, the CG to me is terrible. But I'm still gonna go with the excuse. It's 2006. If they did have a little bit more of a budget with that thing, that monster could have been really menacing. I really think, and I like the scene where the daughter is running up its back, and then she jumps on the thing and gets it, and she's trying to climb up it, and then she realizes she's not a part of it anymore because her tail is wrapped around her. Which, by the way, he must have liked her because he was playing with his food way too much.
That
he ate everybody else. everybody else got eaten except for them. And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. It's just certain little plot points that got me just irritated. Just things of the government, all this other stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, man. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm gonna say what I say.
All right, Brooks, what do you think? Style and structure.
Well, I mean, it has a, like, when I saw like this movie was like a little over 2 hours, I was like, man, this is gonna feel like a slog probably. But it didn't, surprisingly. And I think part of it is, kind of the little tonal whiplash that the movie puts you through, the kind of emotional roller coaster. And it kind of feels like, that like the tonal whiplash is kind of intentional. It's kind of like the movie's poking you a little bit, like hey, and I like the way that it subverts expectations, and it changes things up, that can be like, and sometimes that can feel like gimmicky and not good in a movie. But if it's done right, I think it really works well. And I think this movie does that a lot. Like, I kind of don't like I kind of the same mind with Julian and the fact that the daughter dies so early in the movie, and then they kind of give you that fake out. But then it is kind of interesting too. Like you get to see the family grieve for her, but then there's the hope that, oh no, yeah, she is alive. Like maybe it can have a little bit of a happier ending. But in the end, it like yanks that rug out from under you too. I thought that was interesting. Like I thought that I liked how they did that. So yeah, overall, I thought that was pretty good. It is a very interesting movie, and especially thematically, it has like a lot of there's a lot you can take from this movie. But yeah, not too bad.
Hell yeah, CG didn't bother you at all. It never bothers you, bro.
No, not really. I mean, I like the creature design. Like I think it's really cool, and it doesn't look natural, but it kind of feels like it's not supposed to. It's like this slimy fucking thing. So you kind of get away with it with that old school CGI, because that's basically what most of it was. Like everything looked too smooth, too moist.
Looks like a video game, right? Is it like something like that? Yeah. Looks like Nemesis from Resident Evil or some shit. Where you're like, it doesn't look quite right, but it's enough. It's enough to work for me. Speaking of not quite right, but just enough, Stu, what do you think about the style and structure?
Yeah, I feel like I echo what everybody said in terms of CG. I feel like what the CG got right though was with the mouth. Like the mouth was this grotesque, like like the teeth, the maw, like you didn't know.
It was like the grossest vagina you've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You didn't know what was digestive or what wasn't. Like what was a holding area essentially, or a digestive area. So like that was wild. I thought that part definitely worked. But yeah, I loved like you said, Robbie. I love the pacing. I thought the way they you start off with this like kind of monster attack, and then you move into basically this family trying to do whatever they can to get their the daughter or niece or whatever back. I thought was brilliant. I loved all the other themes that they tied in here with the anti-government, like we've already talked before. I thought they did it really well. I thought like they had perfect casting with some of these side characters. I thought like it was brilliant to put the lobotomist scientist with that cross eye. Like I thought that was just that was such a great scene, and like a great character to convey that message and what was going on. But yeah, there were plot holes and things like I could pick at, but like I thought overall it was beautiful. It was tragic. And it left me with a sense of like profound sadness, but happiness. Like I didn't know how to feel it at the end of this film. And I think that's what I don't know. That's what great works of art do to me. And like that last shot of him with the boy in that shack alone, and then darkness in the snow was just like, that was just so profound to me. Like how far have we really come? Like where are we really at? I just thought it was such a great movie on so many fronts. It did so many things well. And it never left me like Brooke said, it's 2 hours. You think that might be too long, but it never left me like looking at the time or wondering how much time I had left.
Yeah. I just realized, the COVID talk, don't trust the government, snotty balls, nasty vaginas. We ain't getting monetized tonight, y'all. So just say whatever the hell you want. Link, what about you? Style and structure.
Now to speak on the ending real quick, what I think find it to be poignant is because early in the film, the grandfather's explaining how I can't remember his name, Dooku. That's my hero. The Blondie, he's explaining how Blondie was like left on his own, like fending for himself on the streets, And so it's like, like I said, he steps up to the plate, the Blondie, but unfortunately it's too late. But it's like he still gets a redemption by, adopting that boy at the end, who was essentially him as a child. He was a young homeless kid, just fending for, well, he had an older brother, but, obviously he wasn't living an easy life. So, I think there's something symbolic in that, in him finding, like, him getting a rebirth of sorts himself, trying to make sure of this version of himself turns out right, and this time he steps up to the plate.
And if you look at it, like, so all the food they're eating are these simply made, packaged, processed foods, right? And then at the end, it's like a real meal that he's preparing for that dude. And I looked it up, and it's gongdu.
Yeah,
gongdu.
Yeah, gongdu.
But straight up, dude, you gave me the image of Christopher Lee's Dooku being in this fucking movie, and like, I really want to see that cut, man. That would be fucking dope.
Fighting the fucking monster, man. But in terms of the style, I thought it had great style. I think this director's got a good eye for like film composition. He does these, like, I noticed this in his films. He'll do this thing where it's like when there's like a chaotic scene going on, he'll do it like Zack Snyder style, where it's in slow motion. But he's always got like this orchestraic music playing in the background, and it, like, the contrast of it, like it's cool. But the pacing, I think it works. Like you said, 2 hours could seem a little bit intimidating, but and there are certain scenes where it's like, where he's getting lobotomized, he's escaping. I found that to be a little goofy. But at that point, I'm so invested with the character's journey and seeing how this plays out, man. I really didn't mind. So
yeah,
I think that it works well with in that aspect. But I think I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah! What about you, Mike? Style and structure. What do you think?
But then I'm trying to pull my notes back up now that I have two things. Well, he said that the director said he always wanted to do a monster movie that came out of the river, and then apparently the whatchamacallit was a real thing, pouring the stuff in the water.
Yeah.
So he just kind of did two of the two, and like I said, I know everybody knocks the CG, but I think the practical and the CG of the monster looks great. I think he made the monster smart instead of just this big dumb thing. Like, the monster always knew what it was doing. Like, it was always hunting. It was always being. So it's like it was just playing and toying with the girl. Like, it knew something was going on, and it's like, because they just think it's a big dumb monster, but then at the very end, it became a big dumb monster when it was in pain and fear of fire, as most things are.
I love that. I love that scene too, when it like dumps the bones out. Like, you just really realize, like, what's, like, you think it's all kind of been fun and games. It's been like inhaling and exhaling people or whatever, but like when it does that diet, like bone exodus, that's like a whole nother level. You're like,
my cat spitting out a fucking hairball, right? But
it's like a spider too. It's like he's just catching his food and putting it away to come back to eat it later. So the story, I think it was fun, and I like the pacing, because it's just kind of like, I like that start, like the comedy really breaks it up, but then it's kind of like, this is what is going to happen to them. It's kind of like we finally get to catch up to it. It's just like, hey, this is the direction that we're going, but they escaped. And then I don't mind the lobotomy scene. I thought that was fun, because you get to find out more information about what's going on. I love the cross-eyed dude. I thought that was a good one.
I also like the idea, Mike, that maybe this dude just doesn't have anything to lobotomize.
Right.
Like, maybe that could be a joke in the movie, right? That could be intentional, right?
But one of the things too, and it gets into theme in a way, but with the cinematography of the way he sets his shots up on, like, there's a lot of overhead, like you're looking down. And then, because it even opens up with like, hey, look, there's something underneath the water. Don't you guys see? Before he jumps in. And then you see the family at the funeral laying down above. He's lobotomized from above. Also, again, things coming from above, the gasoline, it's raining constantly. The gasoline at the end getting poured down, coming from above. So it's just like it's one of those. There's and then, like even looking down, like the way he's looking down into the pit, the way there's just there's so much into it that's crazy. I remember watching a behind the scenes documentary on it a long time ago, and it's one of it cuts the tension really good. But when the first scientist guy walks into the camp and falls, if you remember that scene,
yes, and he just gets straight back up. He's
that was an accident. The guy didn't mean to fall. Like he went out there, he was supposed to hit his mark, and he was so nervous. And they had all because everybody was all wet and because the river scene, and so he just slips and then gets back up. And the director thought that was so great that he kept it in because the guy was so nervous that he was able to maintain his composure to go with it.
It worked out well, man.
I love that scene where homeboy's coughing on the on like the side of the street, and like he like walks that loogie into the puddle, and then the car comes by and splashes, and everybody's like, ah! Like at the same time. That felt so real.
Yeah, because it's great because he's sitting there coughing, and everybody's like, just back away, back away.
Yeah, everybody's like inching away from him.
But yeah, so there's so much good things about this movie that you can look at. But then, like I said, some of it will stretch breaking down what the style and structure breaks into the themes behind the movie.
All right. So. Well, before we get into that, let's talk about the music. You know, I'm big into the movie music. Now, all the time, we do these movies sometimes where the movie is a farce. The movie is ridiculous. The movie is silly, but the actors and the characters don't realize that, or they do, but they're playing it so straight and it makes things like work, right? Like for instance, Reanimator. Jeffrey Combs plays Herbert West so straight. He is not in a comedy, right? Now in this one, the actors, they know what they're doing. So they go from very serious and tragic to slapsticky, very physical with the comedy and all that stuff, right? But the music doesn't know it's a comedy. And that's what I like about this music. It is very eerie. It's very classic monster movie type stuff. It makes me feel the vibes of like the 40s and the 50s with all those like nuclear, like giant insect movies and stuff like this. And this is definitely like a Korean response to something like Godzilla, right? Because it's about the effect that a not so natural incident, you know, perpetrated by maybe another government, right, can have on a society. And the music, if you listen to it on its own, you think it's part of a different movie. Like easily the composer could have just been like, oh yeah, it's funny here, so we'll play some funny music, but it doesn't. The music maintains that foreboding, menacing sense that really does continuously, even in some of the more comedic bits in the movie, the music lets us never forget that this is something a little bit somber and a little bit awe-inspiring and very, very scary too. What about you, Jelani? You got any thoughts on the music?
Yeah, it's very ominous. You're right. It does have that tone of it, and it doesn't assume that it's a comedy in any way. So it's got its moments of there are no moments of I guess to say levity.
Yeah. Or it doesn't go like
there's no slapstick. Well, yeah, man, you gotcha. You know, it doesn't do that at all. It's great music. I really like the music in this movie. It's haunting when it needs to be, I should say, especially when the girl's in the pit. And the music there, especially when she's trying to run, and it's good. It's good. I ain't got no problems with it, to be honest.
I think Jelani's only problem with this movie is that girl died at the end.
Yeah, bro, straight up.
Like, I'm getting Chasing Amy vibes, bro. Where you love that movie, except for the fact that like Holden and Alyssa
If
don't
she
wind
had
up
lived,
together.
if she had lived, we would have a whole different review from
Jelani would be like, "This is the greatest movie ever." They faked me out on her death twice. See, that would be
That's some
cheesy if they
bullshit.
faked us
You
out
don't
on her
kill
death
nobody
twice,
twice. You don't kill nobody twice. It's bullshit. No, absolute bullshit.
What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the music?
I rather like the music in this movie. It reminded me of like the early Resident Evil games, where in certain rooms you walk in and there'd be like this kind of like melodic piano tune that was kind of meant to like sit like it kind of feels like it's trying to creep you out, but like put you at ease at the same time to set you up for like a scare, you know. And like, you know, it does take it, like the music does seem like it's very serious, like in this movie, like, and it's mostly used that way. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting soundtrack, if nothing else. Like, I really did enjoy the soundtrack in this movie.
Absolutely. What about you, Stu? What'd you think about the music?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I second and third what everybody said. I think I love the high stakes. There's a lot of strings in it. I particularly like that scene where the dad goes out. Like, you know, like the music, you really feel the weight of that moment. But yeah, I agree with what you said with the comedy. Is sometimes the moments are mismatched with the music. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Sometimes too good in certain scenes.
Hell yeah. What about you, Link? What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great at conveying the different emotions at different times in the film. Like particular the scene at the end where he finds his daughter, he's like carrying her, and it's like in slow motion. You see like the fumes in the background. Like the music is like there's a sorrow to it, but it's like slightly triumphant at the same time. Like he's achieved his goal, but there was a not too soon. So it was like the music was very good at conveying the emotions of the scenes in the movie. So I liked it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Mike? You got any thoughts on the music?
Yeah, I dig the music and the way they use it. Definitely get to agree with Stu when the grandfather dies and the way they use that music. It's pretty. That's really on point because that's what really puts that scene over the top. I do like all the strings that they use. A lot of times you get the heavier beats, and like the drums is when like the monster's actually attacking, or there's a lot of the action scenes. It's very quiet at some points where it's kind of swayy. In a way, it kind of also reminds me a lot of like Peter and the Wolf, where everybody kind of has their own little thing that's put together in a way, and it's just like each character has.
Yeah.
It kind of feels with to me that's at least that's what I picked up on, like certain stringed instruments per se on the different characters of what was used heavily. So I don't know. It's just I liked it. So it did its job because it was creepy when it needed to be creepy, and then like even like the funeral when it's just a low kind of somber just a violin, and you're supposed to be sad for the little girls dying, and then there's people getting drop kicked and slipping and falling and yelling, and then the panic hits, and then it gets the stringy gets faster and more manic, and it's like, oh man, it's really good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, we could end the show right now, and the channel would have to be called Pop Culture. But we're Pop Culture Philosophers here. So we'd like to dive a little bit deeper. We like to dig in just a little bit. So, Jelani, what is this movie's theme? What is it speaking to you? What did you pick up from it?
I don't have any kids, but be good to your children. Do nice things for your kids. Be there for them. That's what this kind of tells me. It's about bad parenting. It's about really bad parenting. That piece of shit dad was raised by a piece of shit dad, and he basically had a daughter that was really good. She was really on her way to be nice things, and he was saving money for her. I get it. He was saving money, like stealing money from his own father so he could get her a phone with nickels and dimes.
We don't call that
stuff.
Stealing, Jelani. We call it embezzling. Okay.
Yeah, that is embezzlement. That is embezzlement, and it is a crime.
One of the things they're talking about in this movie is there's this idea. It's in a lot of cultures, but it's in Korean culture, and I don't remember what the term is.
Sorry.
Yes, but it's like where like like you can, like if you're poor and you're a child, it's more appropriate for you to steal food from like farms and shit like that, right? Yeah.
The little boy that was the brother to the other boy explains.
Yeah, when he was like, "Don't steal the money. That if you take the money, that would be stealing." But this isn't stealing. Yeah,
we're not stealing that. We're taking food because we're hungry, and it makes sense, and that's fine. That's good. But it's about, I don't know. It's about how you raise your kids and how your love for your child can exceed logic. It can exceed thought. I mean, even the dad at the end, he was like, I love how he tried to shoot the gun. No, it ain't got no bullets. You knew you had 5 minutes ago. You had no bullets. You still trying to shoot that gun? Are you crazy? Stupid. But I guess when you're in a panic, you do what you do. But he was like, the second he shot the gun, he was like, "Oh, there's no bullets." And then he did that wave off thing. It was so sad. I was like, "Oh, that's sad." I was still mad.
It's like some Kevin Costner fucking Man of Steel shit, right?
Yes.
It was good. So that's what I got from it. As far as you have to. Sometimes you sacrifice for your children. Sometimes you have to do things that you wouldn't do for yourself, and it's selfless acts of what parenting is and what you can do to be actually just a better human anyway.
Yeah.
But be good to your kids. That's what I got.
And feed them. And stop eating people's squid legs.
Right.
Yeah, man. Put it in your fucking pocket. Put that shit in your pocket, bro. Like, what
is that? A gummy worm? Like, what the fuck? Is that safe in your fucking pocket?
I love like he pulled it back out and gave it to his dad. Like, it was.
Plus, it already looked extra crispy. Why the fuck are you? And why is everything else? Everything else in their goddamn shop, you add hot water to. But like they got squid legs. I don't know how that works, dude. Squid legs, by the way, that sounds so fucking gross to me. I tried to eat squid, man. I tried to eat squid, and it just felt like it was something that was just consistently and constantly coming in my mouth, and it would never be done, dude. I just could not fucking chew it, man. It just kept fucking like ejaculating in my mouth. It was so fucking gross, man. Like once
I can fuck with fried calamari, but.
Yeah,
I do like fried calamari.
That's fried calamari and some cocktail sauce, and
that's different. That could be anything in there. I don't care as long as it's deep fried. I mean, fuck, dude, we're in Alabama, Link. Hell yeah, you deep fry a tire, we're gonna eat that shit, man. We don't give a fuck.
We fry everything.
What about you, Brooks? What did you think? What's this movie speaking to you?
Well, I think a big theme of this movie is kind of like the danger that this kind of like lower working class lives under, and it's like it's a kind of thing that's been around for a while. Like we even have it here in America to some extent, like this class of like people who work hard but never like really seem to get anywhere from it. Like because this family, it's not like they're like completely despondent. Like they have a business, they have this little stand, and they run it. So but like they also like it seems like they don't really have enough money. Like, this guy wants to get his daughter a nice phone, and he's having to like save up nickels and dimes for it. And it's also the idea of like how this class is treated by the upper classes. Like, the fact that this monster can come and just snatch up a bunch of people, and like no cops go looking for it, no military goes looking for it. Like the higher ups just seem to be more interested in like covering the thing up or not not talking about it than actually solving the problem. And you get the feeling like if this monster had snatched up like some politician's daughter or some like important celebrity or something like that, then that probably would have happened. But because he's just snatching these these people from these lower middle class people, it was like there's like, oh, it's just easier to instead of solving the problem, just let it do it for a while, and that's kind of the idea is like of this class of
the
people
actual
who just,
government.
They were more worried about the virus because
they
like
didn't exist. This is how a lot of people don't feel like their governments care about them, because when when people need the government to do something, they never fucking do anything unless it's like unless it involves somebody of import.
I mean, we all just went through this shit a few years ago, right? Yep. Like we all remember that, right? I don't want to say the magic word because I don't want to fucking get us pulled off of YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm just
get back to work.
Dude,
Get
I'm
back
gonna
to
say,
work, peasants.
say what you will about Michael Jackson. That motherfucker said the most true thing I've ever heard in pop culture. All I gotta say is that they don't really care about us.
All I want to say is that they don't really care.
The other true thing he said was "Mama say, Mama see, my Mama saw." What about you, Stu? What do you think? What's this movie speaking to you?
Threefold. Don't pour fucking formaldehyde down the drain, like for fear of a river monster coming and taking your daughter away. Number 2, don't trust the government for shit. And sorry, Robbie. I mean, we're piling it on here. And number 3, go hard for your family and your loved ones and those closest to you. I feel like that was the threefold message of this movie, more or less.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's what it said to me.
Oh, dude, you can say don't trust the government as much as you want on this channel. That's our tenets are be insightful, be entertaining, be positive, and don't trust the government. Right? Yep. Like I learned that lesson
and fuck the police.
I learned that lesson at 3 years old when I watched E.T., bro. So like
oh yeah.
Even
Amen,
something as wholesome as that is like, yeah, you don't trust the fucking government, do you, kids?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they'll kill your fucking alien friend. That's what they'll do, man. Steph, what's this movie speaking to you?
Oh, you guys all made very good points, but I'm gonna ride the coattails off Brooks with because I noticed this in his other movies that I've seen, Snowpiercer and Parasite. He likes to speak on classism a lot. You know, it's like how the elite treat the working class, or I've noticed that's something he focuses on, and you could definitely see that in here. Like you guys were saying, the higher ups, the government, people at the companies, they're all worried about sweeping their mistake under the rug instead of actually solving the problem. Like, let's just make sure that no one can connect this to us. Like, let the problem do what it does, and as long as no one knows we had our hands in it, it's all good.
They're more focused on looking competent than being competent.
Right.
Exactly. Well said. But no, yeah, I go with classism. Definitely.
Yeah, classism definitely a big part of this, and it was also part of Train to Busan. So it's like, to me, like I'm only 2 Korean films deep into this whole world of film, right? But I'm picking up on some common threads already between those 2 movies. What about you, Mike? What's this movie speaking to you?
Man, there's a dartboard on my wall with a bunch of themes that I can just throw at. The father is trying to teach his kids empathy, and so like in a way, like you have to have empathy for people at times to understand where they've come from, and I don't think his siblings really understood the plight that Gong-do had been through, and their father was trying to explain it to him, and that's what I liked him as a character, because it was just like he failed, but he also understands where he's coming from, and he's trying to do the best, but it's Gong-do's choice. You know, he can't do the work for him, but he can sympathize with him. Another thing too that he brings up is that Gong-do didn't have his mom left. Like there was if you look, the Gong-do's girlfriend gives birth, leaves. Gong-do's mom is gone. So there's this whole weird thing about mothers in society and the single parenthood of everything. And then when you get back into looking at a family, I cheated and learned about this one, but the food is all instant, like you're talking about. It's the Korea as a society was trying to. He's trying to say like all this advancement and instant is taking away from the family, and the family dinner is where everybody came together. Like everybody has the family dinner. Remember the times when with your families, like you had a family dinner and how much they meant. And then now it's just kind of like everybody just goes off on their own and eats whatever instant, unhealthy food, and then it's all about, like, I guess, feelings and then being on the inside. So like I said, it's kind of see which direction I'm going, but I just can't really wrangle it in. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of just this like you said, like there's something underneath the water, there's a lot that's underneath this film that he's saying. Society is another good point, and then that's what he really likes to do. His film Snowpiercer, that's probably the best one that he did, because the back of the car is to the forward of the car. So
okay, all right. I agree with everybody here. Like Jelani said, I think it's about being a good parent, recognizing what's important, not being a dead ass, being there for your kids, taking care of them, making sure that you have that connection. And like Mike was saying, that's a connection that gets lost. And you're right, 100%. The food, and apparently this director uses food in his movies a lot, right?
Mhm.
As a part of just what he's trying to thematically say. And I don't know, because I haven't seen any of the other ones, but I'll tell you what, after watching this, I'm ready to watch Parasite. I'm ready to watch Snowpiercer.
Awesome.
I'm ready to watch Mother. I'm ready to watch there's one called Memories, something Memories.
Memories of a Murder, I think.
Yeah, something like that, right? And I
Oak
hear
Joe
that
was
one's
good,
really
too.
good.
Yeah.
So-
Oak Joe, yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one. So, this
That
is an
one's
Academy
fire.
Award-winning director, and that was a big deal when it was a Korean film that won Best Picture and Best Director and shit that year. Did it win Best Picture? I know it won Best Director, but anyway. Or maybe did it win Best Foreign Film, or was that the controversy that it was a foreign film and not a main film? Does anybody remember that going on?
I think that was.
I thought it was
I think
because
that
it
was
wasn't
Parasite.
counted as a foreign film. It was with like the regular films, and like some I don't know.
And it's like, who chooses that? You know what I'm saying?
Right? Because like Tilda Swinton was like a big star in that, and
Wasn't Chris Evans in Snowpiercer?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
Yes,
scene?
yep. Jamie Bale.
Remember
Avengers,
at the end of the Avengers when they're eating shawarma and he's got his hand covered? It's
Yeah.
because he was shooting Snowpiercer at the time and had the beard. So
Oh,
he had
nice.
he had-
yeah.
But yeah, Parasite won Best Picture overall. That was what it
Okay,
was.
word. All
Best
right,
Picture,
I
Best
knew
Director,
about that movie for a
Best
particular reason.
international film, original screenplay, editing, sound design.
Nice.
So it
It racked up.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to
Yeah.
cover that, right? So yeah, the
Right.
family stuff, the government stuff, 100%, the ineptitude of the government, and was it Brooks that said this? This is perfect. They care more about looking right than being right,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's a big fucking problem, right? And everybody's just touched on so many of these themes. The only thing I will add to this is this: it's not just about don't trust your government, don't trust other governments either, right? And part of what I did today while I was working, when I was listening to stuff about this movie, but then I went down this rabbit hole about the history of North and South Korea in the 20th century. And, I know of the Korean War, and I know a little bit about why that's there. Like the Soviets took over the North Korea, we took over South Korea. The idea was that it was going to become a country, but we both held on. We let go, and then the Soviets wasn't, and then North Korea attacked South Korea. That was this Korean War, and all this other shit that went on in like the fucking 70s and the 80s that I didn't even know about, because it's not something we're taught in my school, public school, at least down in Alabama. Like we're taught the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and the Vietnam War, and World War I and II, and like those are the wars. Like what about 1812? What about the Korean War, right? Shit like that. The French and Indian War. Like, what about stuff like that? And it is really sad, the history of Korea in the 20th century and America's and other nations, not just America, but other nations' involvement in that. We still have a presence there. It's still fucked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's fucked. It's like, honestly, the Korean War is very much like a Vietnam situation, right? Like, but it doesn't get like portrayed that. The narrative is not shifted that way here in the States, right?
No.
But in Korea, there is a lot of anti-American sentiment, but it's also looked down on, because if you are a South Korean, for instance, and you criticize the American government, so what? Are you a North Korean sympathizer? Like, do you want to go over there now? Like, so there's all this fucking shit, and it all comes from us. And here's the thing. Everything in this movie, everything that results in these other enriched themes that we've been talking about of family and classism and just food even, and just like modern convenience versus like what is actually important. All of that is done by non-Koreans, right? Or it is done by a Korean, but by the request, and I should say the order of the American scientist, right? So that scene's in there for a reason. It's not just to explain why this monster exists, because the movie would be the same without that. If you just took all that shit out, it'd still be a creature feature. A monster comes out of this fucking swamp. It's fine. But just like Godzilla, or should I say Gojira, right? Like, just like that film is a direct response to the American fucking involvement in the Japanese shit going on with the atomic bombs and shit, right? So this is another film that's kind of like, this film is, that's baked into this film is this idea in Korea that we are not what we should be because of all this bullshit that happened. Because, and the reason why we took over, right, is because they were occupied by Japan at the time. It was like a Japanese colony or some shit like that. And then, you know, we beat Japan, and man, post World War II shit's fucked when you really think about it, dude. The Cold War's really fucked, but at least we got James Bond out of it anyway. So that's
well,
what I think.
I mean, on the anti-American statement, like, look at the beginning of the scientists telling the Korean to do this. Like, this is what you need to do. But then the next American that you meet is the soldier that Gangdu is helping.
And this is a good point I want to point out real quick, is that it's not just solely anti-American. Right. It's about the American authority and the American, like, the soldiers aren't involved in that. That's a brave soldier. And he died, and they fucking lied about the way he died. Because they said it was a virus, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And
like, but then you go back and look at who's doing the who's about to give the lobotomy. It's another American. That's crazy American with just, you know, is
with
about
the crazy
to do the lobotomy. So it's just one of those, like, it's in a way it's saying that, you know, that America or other Western, even Europe had their hands in Eastern philosophies and things, and just kind of screwed the society up.
Fuck yeah. All right, you out there in the chat, if you watched along with us this week and you checked out the host, or you've seen it before, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you rate the film? Jelani, why don't you kick us off for the panel?
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna completely shit on it, but it just really made me mad. You don't kill a character. You don't do the emotional thing of killing the character twice. I see the choice of it, and you're just like, oh, it doesn't. And then we get another kid as a consolation prize. They both could have lived. Hell, that thing was both in their mouth, and he swam with them for 20 minutes. That boy should be dead too. They should both be like skeletons in the throw up. It's just irritating to me. Just if you're gonna kill him, go and kill him. And so he's really mad. So when he kills that thing, you're like, oh, hell yeah, you did it. You know what I'm saying? Don't let her live and go through all that bullshit.
I like that. You didn't like the ambiguity, like you didn't know if it was like her being transported across the river with the monster or the Agent Yellow. I kind of like that ambiguity at the end. You didn't know if it was the gas that the government had just dropped, or it was like her transport and the monsters.
Still mad.
All right, fair enough.
Hurts.
But you like Pinocchio.
Nah. What? I ain't watched Pinocchio since like 10. And then I'm like, won't.
Pinocchio's good, man. Pinocchio's fucking scary, actually. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got swallowed by a whale. I'm sorry. That was a bad detraction. Sorry.
Some of us got it.
So what do you rate it, Jillian?
That'll be nice. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's good. It's good in its moments. It does have a lot of themes. The themes really bring it home. I think the pacing's a little wonky for me. I don't like the tonal shifts of the comedy and the dark. Parasite has the same issues for me, but he handles it better. I guess he's just getting his wings in the host. But Parasite, you gotta watch it, man. It's a good balance, because those people are scumbags and they do horrible things, but you care for them. It's kind of, I don't know what it is. He made that main character, that dude, Blondie. I hate that dude. I still hate him. Like, I don't know what it is about him. I cannot stand his face. There's something about him being such a shit parent, because he grabbed the wrong hand. And I understand you grab things, panic, But yo, dumbass, you stupid. Dog, you stupid. Get your life together. Wake up sometimes. Oh, he had to sleep and his dad was sitting up there like defending him. I understand. He's like, oh, I was drunk and left him, and so he had to do sorry and he
It's a
didn't
cycle.
his brain
It's a
didn't
cycle.
develop. And his brain didn't develop. Bullshit. His brain developed. He's just a lazy, sorry little someone sorry bastard. So
I think that might be true. That's why the lobotomy didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
The
I'm about to
lobotomy
say he was impervious to the lobotomy, bro. Like,
yeah, he does. Yeah, because that should have
that's like a Looney Tune idea, right? Like we're gonna lobotomize Bugs Bunny, and it doesn't change shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. All right, a 3 from Jelani, dude. Honestly, I think that's incredibly respectable because usually you latch on to one thing you don't like about a movie, and you're like 0.
Yeah, I would go 0.
A half. A third of it you dig, but a 3 from Jelani doesn't mean it was a complete waste of time. What about you, Brooks? Out of 5 you digs, what do you give the host?
I'd give this one a 4. Like it's like I like it a lot. Like it is very theme rich. It's kind of heavy sometimes. It's not a movie I could see myself like just popping in anytime. Like it's one of those flicks that you'd have to be in like the right kind of mood for. But I do like it is a movie that's worth analyzing. It's fun to like just. It's one of the movies that would seem fun to like just like watch it and like try and like write a paper on or something. I guess I'm kind of a nerd. Like, oh man, wouldn't it be fun to write a paper on this movie?
No shit, Brooks. What are you thinking over there, man? Like, let me write a paper on this. Nah, man, right. 4 you dig.
Make an essay.
That's awesome. What about you, Stu? What do you rate it?
Oh man, definitely a 5 for me. I think it does so many things well. I love all the character work throughout. I think it tells a brilliant story on so many different levels: government, family, what have you. So yeah, definitely a 5 for me. I love this movie. It gets like I enjoy. Like I feel what Brooks is saying. You got to be in the right mood to rewatch it, but at the same time, like on rewatch, it just brings new and different things to me, and that's what I really appreciate about it. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time I've seen it now, and it just always stays fresh. And present something new to me. So, oh yeah.
All right, a perfect score from Stu. What about you, Steph?
Right there with my host too, bro. This movie, like you said, never gets old. I enjoy all the different vibes it encompasses. It's a tragedy one moment, a horror movie next, a fucking drama, black dark comedy. It all works, and I think the performances are all fucking fantastic. Great themes. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 5. It's always fresh.
All right, another perfect score. What about you, Mike? What do you think? Should we tell him?
Your mic's muted, brother.
I said I'm gonna keep the train rolling, and I'm gonna go with a 5 also. So it's a good movie. It's fun. It's scary. And then I was gonna say one of the things that we didn't talk about was the jump scare. Or at least it was a little some of the few of the jump scares in there I thought were kind of fun because you can kind of see them coming, but you don't. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like all the acting. It's one that you can watch like over and over again and still learn and pick up new things that you've missed before. And I know Jelani hates that, killing the daughter, but I think like Gong-do having to lose his daughter and his father was the wake up call that he needed to get his shit together. And so basically it's like, all right, cool. He's got a little bit of redemption because he still has the stand and he still has
that's the tragic part to me. Is it a reward? Like, is it really a win? Because he's just not in the same sad cycle. Like, and that's like him alone in the snow and the darkness out there, like, where nobody else, like in the wintertime when obviously no other street vendors are.
He had the little boy.
That's
but
he's also
he's also paranoid at the window. Like, yes, he's dressing better, but he's paranoid.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. He's vigilant now.
Yeah,
he's got it together now.
He's aware.
He's cooking his own food now. So it's not where you are or even your station in life, but who you are. And who he is in the beginning of the movie is way different than the end of the movie.
Very true. Very true. Absolutely.
And he even got rid of that dumbass fucking dye job.
God,
you know,
he looks so much better.
Because there's so many times they could have got away, but it's just like, hey, Blondie, like the blonde hair gave him away.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna go.
true.
I'm gonna go for you, Diggs. I like the film. The further I was removed from it, the more I enjoyed it. When I first watched the film, my initial thoughts were 3 you digs. Then when I thought about it for a few days, my thoughts were 3.5. Today, I was between a 3.5 and a 3.69. But this discussion bumped it up to a 4. And what's interesting to me is that everybody who watched it for the first time, it's 3 to 4 you digs. But everybody who's seen it multiple times, they're giving it perfect scores. And I think this is something that I would like to revisit. And I think I would have a different idea and impression on the film, knowing kind of the tone that I'm getting into. So a 4 from me, a 4 from Brooks, a 3 from Jelani, and a 5 from everybody else. That's a PCP average of 4.33333369, dudes. So hell yeah. Definitely check it out. We got Chill Out Man with a 4, Two Gun Pedro with a 3.5. Let me guess. Was it your first time? I don't know. It seems to be what's going on here. Anyway, thus concludes our review for The Host. But March Madness is not over. We are just starting week 2. All right. So coming up, Manny over at Nerdtastic News is doing another excellent video essay. This time, a comic book review. The first comic book review ever for March Madness. Aliens versus Demons, reviewing The Sacrament by Peter Milligan. Wednesday night, join Verno and the crew over at Blood Splatter Chatters. They talk about From Beyond, directed by Stuart Gordon, based on the H.P. Lovecraft story, starring Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs. I'm a huge fan of this movie. My spirit is going to be there on the panel, y'all. I love this movie, and we've covered it here on March Madness. So have yourself a double feature. Watch Verno and the BCS crew talk about From Beyond, and then watch our PCP movie night from a couple years ago, and just have a whole evening of From Beyond, dude. It's really great stuff. On Saturday over at Dylan's Horror Show, I'll be joining Dylan and Scarpad and others as we talk about Creep.
Yeah.
It's my first time watching this one. I got a lot of things to say. And next week, the best part of PCP movie night. That's right. March Madness. We're talking about Lucio Fulci. We always got to dive into an Italian film. And I'm going to tell you this. This is my favorite film from Lucio Fulci. We're talking about The Beyond next week. So March Madness is all up in your ass this week. We got Aliens versus Demons over at Nerdtastic News. We got From Beyond over at Blood Splatter Chatter. We got Creep on Dylan's Horror Show. And next week, The Beyond here on PCP Movie Night. Jelani, thank you so much for being here. Any final thoughts? What you got coming up?
Yeah, this was an interesting movie, so thank you for having me for it. I'm just still mad that girl died. But either way,
you don't fucking say.
Yeah, I'll get over it. Yeah, Brooks and I do Go Figure reviews. We don't have a thumbnail. Manny's working, so we got Mondo Beastman that's going to be coming out, but we also had Doc Ock came out last week. Check that video out. It's our Marvel Legends Doc Ock. He is one of my favorite figures. He's got some issues with him, but check that video out. Like I said, we had a Mondo Beastman that we reviewed. Jordan Condra gave us another Mondo figure. They are freaking awesome. He is awesomely huge, but we don't have a thumbnail for it because Manny's skin's slow and stick. I gotta get on Manny. So
I got Manny working on too many thumbnails for me, Jelani. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say.
Yeah,
he only does thumbnails for like 20 channels. So
yeah, no big deal. Yeah, so it's all good. I can wait. Patience is a virtue. But yeah, we really appreciate the viewership. We really thank everybody for doing it, and we'll be getting into live streams again soon. I got a new computer, so hopefully it won't be slow as all crap when I finally get it done. So we'll finally get that together, and I'm super excited for that. So yeah, join us again. Go Figure Reviews.
Hell yeah. Brooks, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts, my man.
Well, I don't really have anything to offer except for my paltry bronze medal. That's one of my favorite bits in this movie is them giving her so much shit over that bronze medal.
Yeah.
It is bronze.
Look, even your sister is here to get. She's got a bronze medal too.
She's the most
They kinda
successful member
played
of the
the shit
family.
out
And
of
like all they do is shit on her. Like, oh,
Yeah.
bronze.
Can you imagine how
It's
sad it
not
is?
gold.
Can you imagine how sad it is to be the bronze medal winner? Like that's it. Like you never win
Yeah,
gold
that's
or
a
silver. Like,
participation trophy. Yeah.
but it's not, dude, because there's like so
And-
many people competing, right? The bronze
Yeah,
medal's
yeah.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Third's better than fucking 8th place. I'll goddamn tell you that. You know, but it is. Imagine if there's somebody out there who's got on their mantle 6 bronze medals, and they just look at them and drink. They just like that's what they do every night. Think about that. Think about that. I got a documentary in mind now. Let's do it.
If you're
Dude.
not first, you're
If I had a
last.
bronze medal, I'd be wearing it around my neck all the fucking time.
I know you would, man.
Olympic, man. I was there.
I was there in 1996.
I managed to get on the podium.
Stu, thank you for
Dominic
being here.
Luciano,
Final
baby.
thoughts. What you got coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. with me and Link. We got Supreme Clientele. We're doing the Ultimate X-Men. We're going over that, the New Void Rivals, and we're going back in time to the New Avengers Bendis David Fincher run, the first 2 arcs of that with John's Comics for Kids. And also my homeboy E put out his very first video,
Yeah,
9-panel grid over on YouTube. Y'all go like, subscribe. Check out my boy E. It's fantastic. It's already better than anything I've ever done. So he's got
I'll tell
that
you
going
what,
for him.
Stu, I watched that shit today and I got pissed. I was like, fuck
Dude.
this motherfucker coming at me like this, man. Why are you trying to fuck with me? I already got Nick fucking
I'm still
creeping
trying to
up,
catch
Manny.
up, right? I'm
Got
already
y'all,
trying to catch up.
everybody at my goddamn coattails now. Like everybody's trying to fucking take, like, fuck y'all, man. Y'all gotta get worse, okay? Y'all making me nervous. I can't get better, so y'all got to get worse. All right.
Wow.
You said it the other day. Competition breeds excellence.
No, not here, man.
So
It just breeds resentment.
Yeah, jealousy, resentment, and bitterness.
No lie, man. Eric, dude, Easy Dick did a great job, dude. That was riveting. That was really good stuff, man. I'm very excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chatting with that dude about comics in Memphis was like, I knew that dude would soar. So it's a long time coming, man.
Next level. Yeah.
Everybody does great work. I'm just saying. I just wish y'all weren't as good as me.
I'll be the one to step up to the plate. I do the best, but I'll just leave that there.
Fair enough.
Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
Link, final thoughts. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
Oh, it was great. This was a great time, man. Great conversation. And Jelani, I respect that. I was expecting you to give it a terrible review. So that 3 is like a 5 in my eyes. So
All right. Yeah. You lucky you got that 3 though, because that made me mad. You have no idea. The second I saw it, I texted Robbie, and I was like, I'm done. I'm mad. I'm mad as fuck.
All right, but let me ask you, where were you at before you found out she was dead for good, though? Like, where were you at before that? Were you?
I liked the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I liked the movie. I was okay with it, and then she died, and then I was like, you can't make me want that girl to live that whole time, and the whole point of the movie is to find this girl alive because nobody believes you that she's alive, and then she fucking dies anyway. You sorry, motherfuckers.
Life's not fair, bro. That's
No, it's not. No, it's not. But in the movies, it should be. Don't lie to me. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Hell no. Hell no.
That's fair. That is fair.
But you don't do all that. And she died anyway. No. She died anyway. Like hell. She did. She went through.
Check us out tomorrow.
She jumped on that fool.
Supreme Clientele.
Not bad.
9 p.m.
Go figure reviews. Go watch us.
Supreme Clientele. Tell us more about it, please.
Supreme Clientele. Y'all are awesome. Love your mama. Stay in school. Eat your greens. Don't do drugs. Stay in school.
Supreme Clientele tomorrow night, right? What time?
9:30 p.m. Dr. Doom's Fan Club.
9:30.
Hell
yes.
yeah. Yep.
Eastern
Daylight Time. I know it's fucking all of us up, so.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Daylight
Mike,
savings.
thank you so much for being here, man. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I have. I just want to recreate one of my favorite scenes from the movie, and it's the monster daughter. Y'all don't remember that?
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking
The
about.
cell phone, yeah.
Yeah, when he was trying to demonstrate what happened to his daughter.
Yeah.
I love it.
That shit was
What
so
did you
in the
just put in your
background.
mouth, man?
An old thumb drive.
Oh, that's not a cell phone. Yeah.
It's not a cell phone, but it's still. I can't really.
Yeah, put your
it
cell
on
phone in
my
your
That's
mouth,
right.
bro. Come on.
Put your cell phone in your mouth.
Oh, let me go
Cell
find
phones
it.
are kind of a bit bigger.
Go find a 2006 cell phone.
You got a flip phone, baby.
Them flip phones, baby. Yep. Get a Nokia. Yeah,
All right.
break your teeth though.
Join us next week for PCP Movie Night. Your marching orders are to go watch Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. Where is it streaming? Let's see. I need to do this more often. The Beyond. It's a 1981 film. Love this movie. And it's on Tubi for free, Crackle for free, Plex for free. Yeah, it's all over. It's on Tubi. It's on all that stuff. So check it out. It's definitely worth it. We'll see you next week here for PCP Movie Night, March Madness, y'all. This is the best. It's the second best time of the year. The best is Horror Fest, but March Madness is just as good. And remember, overall, do not ever trust the fucking government. Right?
Mhm.
Like, learn one goddamn thing from me, team.